Hello children, good afternoon all. How are you all? I hope that you are all fine. Okay children, in this video we are going to learn about the cell structure and functions in 9th class biology textbook, the first lesson. So are you ready children? Okay, come on. So the cell, basic unit of life. In lower classes we already learned about the cell structure. Already we know that the cell is the structural and functional unit of living organisms. Every living organism is made up of cells, whether they are unicellular or multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms have different cell structures when compared to multicellular organisms, and also plant cells have different structures when compared to animal cells. For example, onion cells are in a rectangular shape while cheek cells are in circular in shape. So, we can observe the cells with the help of microscopes. Here we can see the types of microscopes. Simple and complex microscopes are useful for the observing the cell wall, cytoplasm, nucleus, mitochondria and chloroplast, etc. But the electronic microscope is very useful for the observing the cell organelles in very clearly. Based on nutrition, the living organisms are divided into two types. They are autotrophs and heterotrophs. Auto means self, trophs means synthesis. So, the living organisms which are preparing their food for their own, they are called autotrophs. So, for example, plants. So these are preparing food for using of some factors. They are CO2, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. So this process is called photosynthesis. So autotrophs are plants. So heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are dependent for their needs on other organisms like plants, animals, etc. So for example, animals and human beings. So these are not preparing their food for their own. The next one is cells are divided into two types based on the presence of nucleus. They are prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes didn't have nucleus. For example, bacteria. So eukaryotes having nucleus and developed organisms. Example, plants, animals, etc. Come to know about the cell organelles in details. So cell organelles are cell membrane, cell wall, nucleus, mitochondria, plastids, ribosomes, ER, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, vacuole, etc. These are present in the cells called as the cell structure. My dear children, come and to know about the structures of cell one by one. First one is cell membrane. The cell membrane observing in rheoleaf by doing this activity. First, take a rheoleaf and break it to take out a peel like this way. Students, are you observing? Good. Now, take a permanent slide and place this peel on a slide and put a drop of water on it. Next, it is covered with the cover slip. Next, place the permanent slide mount under microscope and observe the light portion of a leaf under it. The initial observation is that the leaf peel contains green colored granules termed as chloroplasts. These chloroplasts contain chlorophyll which helps in the process of photosynthesis. The final activity we can do. Take a concentrated salt solution. Now add 1 or 2 drops of concentrated salt solution on the leaf peel. Leave it aside for 5 to 10 minutes. After that, cover the slide with cover slip and place it under microscope. Next, observe the changes under microscope. Now coming to the final observation, it is observed that the water present in rheoloeph comes out, which results in shrinking of cytoplasm and cell membrane. Finally, we learning that from this activity, when a salt solution is poured over a peel of rheoloeph, the water present inside the rheoloeph comes out. This leads to the shrinking of cytoplasm along with the cell boundary. The outer boundary of colored area is called cell membrane. Here we can see the structure of cell membrane clearly. So, the cell membrane is flexible and mainly consists of lipids and proteins. The cell membrane is the outermost layer of the cell structure. It separates cytoplasm from external environment. This is also called plasma membrane. The cell membrane defines the shape and size of the cell. Any substance entering or leaving the cell can do so only through this membrane. The exchange of substances through the cell membrane happens very selectively. Hence, it is known as selectively permeability. Now, let us to know about the functions of the cell membrane. It defines the size and shape of the cell. It encloses the cytoplasm and protects it from external environment. The cell membrane plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of various substances inside the cell body. The exchange of substances through the membrane happens selectively. Hence, this membrane is called selectively permeability membrane. Now, coming to the second part is cell wall. So, the cell wall also continuously exchanges information in the cell. So, now we can see the differences between the cytoplasm and protoplasm. So, these both are the cell fluids, but in cytoplasm, the fluid inside the cell. In the protoplasm, the cell fluid is present, and of course, all cell organelles parts are present in the protoplasm. Now, we are check the differences between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So, you can observe the differences and characteristics of the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells are followed. So, the prokaryotic cell are very simple when compared with eukaryotic cell. So, eukaryotic cell is more complex. Prokaryotic cell lacks internal membrane bound organelles and they don't have nucleus. Example, bacterial cell or archaea cell. But when compared to eukaryotic cell, these are more complex, do have internal membranes bound together, contains nucleus. For example, human cell or Candicon cell. So both have cytoplasm, plasma membrane, ribosomes, cilia or flagella. Next organelle is nucleus. The next cell organelle is nucleus. Already we know that every living organism made up of trillions of cells. So these cells having nucleus. So we observe the nucleus by doing an activity as followed. The nucleus is very clearly in cheek cells. So children, come and follow the activity. Before going to observe the nucleus in cheek cells, we must know the shape and parts of a nucleus. In this picture, we can learn the shape and parts of a nucleus. This is round in shape and the parts are nuclear pore, chromatin, nucleolus, nucleoplasm and nuclear envelope. This is the shape and parts of the nucleus. Now follow the activity. To perform this experiment, the materials required are a toothpick or ice cream spoon, permanent slide, cover slip, watch glass, needle, blotting paper, 1% methylene blue, glycerin, microscope, etc. Before going to do activity, we must follow the precautions. The first one is do not scrap the cheek too hard because it may injure you. Scrapped material should be spread uniformly on the slide. See that there should not be any air bubbles under the cover slip. Excess stains should be drained off on the permanent slide. Now coming to do activity. Take a permanent slide and add few drops of methylene blue on it. Next, take a toothpick in such a way that the flat end should be placed inside the mouth. Now, put the toothpick inside the mouth and move the pick up and down for 12 times by sweeping against the cheek. Remove the toothpick from the mouth and place it on the die and spread the toothpick in the die to enable our cheek cells to spread out. Remove the toothpick from the die and cover it with a cover slip. Tap the needle on the cover slip to spread the cells. Place the permanent slide mount under the microscope. Observe the permanent slide under the low and high power of the microscope. Note the observation in our notebook. Now coming to the observations, it is observed that the shapes of the cheek cells are irregular. It is observed that each cheek cell has a dark colored border. It is observed that dark colored spherical and oval shaped structures are present near the center of the cell. Now coming to learning. By doing this activity, we learned about the dark colored outer edge of cheek cells is called cell membrane. The dark blue color inside the cell membrane is called cytoplasm. Dark colored spherical and oval shaped structures near the center of the cell is the nucleus. So, in plant cells, the cells are rectangular in shape, while in animal cells, the cells are in oval or round in shape. In plant cells, the nucleus occupy in the center and the vacuoles are very big in size. While compared to animal cell, the nucleus present and the vacuoles are very small in size. So, at the end of this activity, we can observe the dark colored spots as nucleus. In 1831, the Robert Brown, the great scientist, observed this nucleus, but he didn't have a complete idea on the functions of nucleus. So, this nucleus is very similar to the prokaryotic cells. The nucleus tolerate the complete activities of the cell. That's why it is called as the master brain of the cell. And the nucleus having two parts. They are nucleolus and nucleoplasm. So these are present in nucleus and they are having genetic material and chromosomes. They tolerate the complete activities of the nucleus. So children, the coming video explains about the nucleus and functions of nucleus clearly. Just follow. Nucleus is named by Robert Brown in the year 1831. Nucleus is the most important organelle of the cell. It is also termed as the cell's control room. Nucleus is the largest and is different from all the cell organelles. Schleiden, who proposed the cell theory, thought that new cells were created from the nucleus called cytoblast. Now coming to the functions of nucleus. Nucleus regulates and controls all the functions of the cell. It determines the characteristics of an organism. It consists of all the genetic information. It is involved in the process of cell division. The nuclear membrane encloses the nucleus and separates it from its contents of cytoplasm. Nuclear membrane is similar to the cell membrane. Cells are categorized into types based on the presence or absence of the organized nucleus. They are, the first one is eukaryotic cells with the organized nucleus, and the second one is prokaryotic cells without organized nucleus. Children, again I repeat the functions of nucleus. So just recollect your knowledge. Nucleus functions. The first major function is the nucleus is it is supervised the total activities of the cell. So it is a supervision, that's why it is called as a master brain or the main cell organelle, etc. The second function of the nucleus is cell division. So by the cell division, the information transferred from the one generation to another generation. So the main reason of this activity is due to the nucleus appearance. Now coming to the next organelle, plastids. The next cell organelle is plastids. So plastids are mainly present in the plant cells. These are absent in the animal cells. The plastids are mainly divided into three types. They are, the first one is chromoplast, the second one is chloroplast, and the third one is leucoplast. So chromoplast having so many colored of plastids. For example, tomato. So tomato is in red color due to the presence of lycopene plastid. The second one is chloroplast. Chloroplast having chlorophyll pigment. So everybody knows the plants are, we can see the plants are in green color. So why? Because the plants are in green color due to the presence of chlorophyll. So chlorophyll, the type of pigment, belongs to the chloroplast plastids. The third one is leucoplast. So leuco means colorless. That means white in color. So leucoplastids don't have colors. So these three plastids are mainly present in our surroundings. We can observe the chloroplast plastids in the rheolith by doing this activity. So finally, we can observe the granule type of plastids present in the rheolith. These are called as chloroplastids. So algae also having plastids. So these plastids are different shapes in algae. So children, I am repeating about plastids concept by using this video. So please recollect your knowledge. Plastids are present only in plant cell. They are rounded, ovoid or disc-shaped structures which contain pigments. On the basis of the color of the pigment contained in plastids, they are classified into three mainly. They are chloroplasts, chromoplasts and leucoplasts. The first one is chloroplasts. These are green colored plastids found in the aerial parts of a plant. The green color of the plastids is due to a pigment called chlorophyll which can trap the solar energy from the sun. Food synthesizing process called photosynthesis takes place in this structure. The next one is chromoplasts. These are colored plastids having yellow, orange or red in color. They are present in the petals of flowers and ripe fruits. It attacks insects or animals for pollination of flowers and dispersal of fruits and seeds. The third one is leucoplasts. These are plastids which do not have any pigment, so they are colorless. That means white in color. They are usually found in storage organs and roots. Now coming to the ribosomes. The next cell organelle is ribosomes. So ribosomes are a small granule-like structures which are present in the cytoplasm of the cell. So these are formed with the RNA and proteins. So these are scattered freely in the cytoplasm. So ribosomes are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum is called rough endoplasmic reticulum. So ribosomes are mainly sites for the protein synthesis. Children, I am repeating about ribosomes once again. So ribosomes are tiny granular particles found in a living cell. They can be free floating in the cytoplasm attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. So here we can observe the ribosomes, free floating ribosomes and attached ribosomes. So ribosomes are grand large and peptide parties. So both are attached and form a ribosome. When we saw the composition of ribosome is made up of proteins and ribosomal RNA in almost equal amount. Eukaryotic ribosomes are slightly larger than prokaryotic ones. Ribosomes are not membrane bounded and so also found in prokaryotes. Now coming to the function of ribosomes or the sites of protein synthesis. Large number of ribosomes are found throughout the cell as protein synthesis is extremely important to the cell. Then coming to the endoplasmic reticulum. The next cell organelle is endoplasmic reticulum. This is in the short form of ER. So endoplasmic reticulum is a largest network of membrane which is throughout the presence of cytoplasm. It is meant for the transportation within the cell. That means it is a intra-transporter. So based on the presence or absence of the ribosomes, the endoplasmic reticulum is divided into two types. The first one is smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the second one is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum may have ribosomes. Such parts are called rough endoplasmic reticulum. These are the main sites for the photosynthesis. The endoplasmic reticulum may not have ribosomes. Such parts are called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. These are the main sites for the proteins, lipids manufacturing. My dear children, please follow recap about the endoplasmic reticulum again. The endoplasmic reticulum, in short ER, is a membrane-bound organelle found in eukaryotic cells. The endoplasmic reticulum follows an interconnect network of flattened membrane, enclosed sacs and tube-like structures known as cisternae. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. They are rough ER and smooth ER. The outer membrane of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, in short RER, has ribosomes that are the sites of protein synthesis. The rough endoplasmic reticulum network is connected to the outer membrane of nucleus. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, in short SER, lacks ribosomes and functions in lipid manufacture and metabolism. The main parts of ER are rough endoplasmic reticulum, cisternae, ribosomes, nucleus, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum in a short form of SER. Now let us come to the functions of the endoplasmic reticulum. So gives to channel to the transport of the material. So in vertebrate cells, smooth endoplasmic reticulum plays a crucial role to detoxifying toxins and drugs. Now the coming cell organelle is Golgi complex, not Golgi, not Golgi. It's just a Golgi complex. Although Camillo Golgi had observed this organelle in the year 1898 using a compound microscope, come to know about structure and functions of Golgi apparatus. In the cell, this is Golgi apparatus. It looks like flattened bags or vesicles. These vesicles are arranged parallel to each other and form sacs called as cisterns. Now let us see the functions of Golgi apparatus. In a factory, the machines that manufacture the items and the machines that pack the item are different. Once the items are made, then they are sent for packing and dispatch. In the same way, in our cells, protein molecules are manufactured in the endoplasmic reticulum and then they are sent to Golgi apparatus for modification and for packing and dispatch. The proteins that are modified by the endoplasmic reticulum are modified, stored, and when needed they are packed and dispatched in the form of vesicles. The Golgi apparatus performs three important functions. They are storage of materials, modification of materials, and packaging and dispatch of materials. The Golgi apparatus gathers simple molecules and combined them to make more complex molecules. Then it takes the big molecules and pack them in vesicles. It means those stored vesicles for later use and dispatched them. These vesicles are delivered inside the cell to different cell organelle, or sometimes these vesicles are delivered outside the cell to the target location. The lysosomes are also prepared in this Golgi apparatus. The Camillo Golgi discovered the Golgi apparatus and named as Golgi apparatus. Children, once again recap about Golgi bodies. Golgi is composed of stacks of membrane called cisterns surrounded by vesicles. It processes, packages and transports various substances like proteins and lipids. It plays a major role in the production of lysosomes. The number of Golgi bodies varies from cell to cell. So the next organelle is lysosomes. In the term lysosomes, the lysis means breaking down and the soma means body. Now, first let us locate lysosomes in the cell. These are lysosomes. Let us see the structure and functions of lysosomes. Lysosomes are sac-like organelles and these are covered by a membrane outside and filled by a fluid inside. This fluid contains digestive enzymes. Already we know that the breaking down of waste materials in the body by the lysosomes. The main function is to clean the waste and unwanted materials inside the cell. They were the waste disposal system of the cells. What kind of waste materials are found inside the cell? Sometimes a bacteria or virus or some undigested food particle enter to the cell. It has considered as the waste and it has to be removed. Sometimes the parts of the cell are damaged or worn out. These parts are also considered as the waste or unwanted materials. These kind of materials are cleared by lysosomes. Sometimes if the cell is damaged, the cellular components try to repair it by proteins and fats from endoplasmic reticulum. They are diverted to repair the cell. But if the damage is beyond the repair, then the lysosomes help to self-destruct. Lysosomes burst and the digestive enzymes present in them, they will die with the components of the cell. That is why the lysosomes called as suicide bags. Now let us recall about lysosomes again. Lysosomes form the waste disposal system of the cell. Lysosomes are bag-like structures filled with digestive enzymes. Lysosomes break down the wastes and remove them from the cell. Lysosomes also offer protection to the cell by digesting the harmful entering the cell. And finally, lysosomes are committed to suicide. So, based on this property, the lysosomes are called as the suicidal bags of the cell. The next cell organelle is vacuoles. Now, let us see about vacuoles. Vacuoles are the sacs for storage of materials. Materials in the form of solids or liquids are stored in them. In animal cells, these are small in size, whereas plant cells, the vacuoles are very big and occupy 50 to 90% of the cell volume. How do bigger vacuoles helps the plant cell? Now come to know. The vacuoles in the plant cells are filled with cell sap, provides turgidity and rigidity to the cell. These store many important materials like sugars, amino acids and various organic acids and some proteins. In unicellular organisms, also vacuoles perform some important functions. In organisms like amoeba, the food enters the food vacuoles where it is digested and absorbed. In the same way, contractile vacuoles are formed to collect and excrete the excess water and waste material. Now let us to know about the functions of vacuole. The first one is maintain turgor pressure within the cell, and the second one is export unwanted substances from the cell. So they are reposits of the cell. The last and final cell organelle is mitochondria. It is very an important cell organelle in the cell. What is mitochondria? Well, students, I want to tell you one thing. This question is wrong. We should have been what are mitochondria? Because the mitochondria are the plural of the mitochondria. Now, let me go back. What are mitochondria? So, the mitochondria are the light batteries of a torch and petrol to a car and coffee to a several people. Basically, the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. So, students, let's come to know about the structure of mitochondria. We are going to learn about the structure of mitochondria. So, the mitochondria word discovered by the Benda. So, the scientist Benda first coined the word mitochondria. The another scientist, Mr. Kolliker. So, Mr. Kolliker observed the mitochondria in the flight muscle cells of insects. So, he was observed the mitochondria in the flight muscle cells. Flight muscle cells of insects. Basically, the mitochondria are called as the powerhouse of the cell because it gives or provides total energy in the form of ATP to entire cell activities. That's why the mitochondria are called as powerhouse of the cell. So, the mitochondria also called as a semi-autonomous organelle. Semi-autonomous organelle. Semi-autonomous organelle. The semi-autonomous organelle means the cell organelle able to perform certain activities by their own. For example, replication. So, the mitochondria are done replication by their own. Next, the mitochondria are visible with the help of electronic microscope only. So, these are visible with the electronic microscope. So, when we saw with the help of electronic microscope the mitochondria or 2 to 8 microns of length, 2 to 8 microns of length and 0.5 microns of width they have. So when we can saw under microscope the mitochondria or 2 to 8 microns of length and 0.5 microns of width they have. Then the mitochondria are 150 times smaller than the nucleus. So these are 150 times of smaller than the nucleus. Smaller than the nucleus. In the cell, the nucleus is present. Of course, we already know that. So the nucleus is more than visible in the mitochondria. That means the mitochondria are 150 times smaller than the nucleus. Coming to the number of mitochondria. So the number of mitochondria varies from cell to cell. In unicellular organisms, the mitochondria are present single for a cell. So unicellular organisms. In unicellular organisms, the mitochondria are present one single or one mitochondria or present a cell. For example, chlamydomonas and chlorella. So these are the example for the unicellular organisms and they have mitochondria in a single form. Then coming to the flight muscle cells of insects, there are 5 lakh of mitochondria. 5 lakhs of mitochondria are present. So the Kolliker scientist observed the mitochondria in the flight muscle cells of insects. Already we know about that. Then 50,000 of mitochondria are present in some organisms. So the next number is 50,000 of mitochondria are present in some organisms. For example, giant amoeba. Mitochondria are varies from number present in the cell. So students, now I am going to tell the parts of mitochondria with the help of drawing. So come on. When we saw the mitochondria under microscope, these are in the spherical or rod-like structures. So these are spherical or rod-like structures or cylindrical organelles. So the mitochondria is made up of two membranous walls. The first one is outer membrane. It has so many pores. So it has pores, that's why the outer membrane is called as porous membrane. And the inner membrane having so many foldings like this way. So these are having many foldings. Children, do you observe these foldings look like our fingers? So these are called human fingers? No, just kidding. So these foldings are called as cristae. And also this is called inner membrane. So it has so many foldings. This structure is called as cristae. So in between the cristae there is a fluid present. This fluid is called as matrix. So the cristae having fluid like this way. So it is called as matrix. So the matrix is responsible for the cellular respiration. Already we know that the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. Why? Because the energy or ATP is given to entire cell activities. So in that total process is occurred in the matrix. So the matrix are having enzymes and it is very responsible for the cellular respiration. And the next part is, so here we can see the double helix structures. So it is called as DNA. And the mitochondria having their own ribosomes. So these structures are called as ribosomes. So mitochondria having DNA and ribosomes for their own. That's why it is doing activities for their own. So this is DNA and this is ribosomes. These are the main parts of mitochondria. Now coming to learn about the complete structure in coming video. So children, follow this video carefully. The mitochondria are double membraned organelles. Each mitochondria has two membranes. One is outer membrane and another one is inner membrane. The outer membrane is porous, that means it has pores. The inner membrane is deeply folded. Students, do you know why the inner membrane of mitochondria is deeply folded? Let me know. Mitochondria need more surface area to carry some special reactions in which a special energy molecule called ATP is produced. So, to provide more surface area, the inner membrane is deeply folded. Now, let us see what are ATP. ATP stands adenosine triphosphate. These are the energy-rich molecules. In our cells, many reactions takes place and all these reactions they need energy. And in our cell, there are so many new materials are produced. So, for the production of these two new materials, also ATP are required. That's why ATP are called as cell currency or energy currency of the cell. Generally, in a cell, nucleus has DNA and it passes the information to the cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum to make proteins necessary for cellular activities. That means all the cell organelles, they follow the instructions of the nucleus. But here, in case of mitochondria, it is a big different. Mitochondria, they have their own DNA and ribosomes. So, they can manufacture some of their own proteins. That's why mitochondria sometimes called as strange organelles. Now, the main functions of mitochondria are it provides energy in the form of ATP to entire cell activities. That's why it is also known as the powerhouse of the cell. The matrix, which a part of mitochondria, is the responsible for cellular respiration. These are the main functions of mitochondria. So children, I am repeating about mitochondria again. The cells get their energy from mitochondria. Mitochondria are also called the powerhouse of the cell. The mitochondria are rod-like spherical structures. Mitochondria are covered by two membranes. The first membrane is outer membrane is very porous. The inner membrane is deeply folded. These foldings are called cristae. The cristae increase the surface area for chemical reactions. Energy is released by mitochondria in the form of ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate. These are mainly for cellular respiration. Children, I want to ask you one question. Are cells flat? Okay, let me explain. Usually, the cells we can see under microscope, the image appears flat and two-dimensional structure. But in reality, the cells are length, breadth and thickness also. We can see easily the length and breadth of the cell, but we cannot see easily the thickness of the cell. If we can change the direction of light, we can easily see the thickness of the cell. This three-dimensional structure image clearly we can see when the intensity of light towards as well. I am going to ask another question. Where do cells come from? So, usually every living organism is made up of cells and the cells having nucleus. So already we know that all cells come from before cells. Schleiden and Schwann, the great scientist, proposed a theory. It is about cell. That's why this theory is called as cell theory.
Children, the coming video explains the born story of the cell theory. Schleiden, a botanist, observed samples in plant tissues. Schwann, a geologist, observed samples in animal tissues. Schleiden concludes that all plant tissues are made of cells, and Schwann concluded that all animal tissues are made of cells. They go together, combined their ideas and gave birth, and now what are we call the cell theory. This theory said two things. One is, cells are the building blocks of living organisms, that is, all living organisms are made of one or more cells. All living organisms are composed of cells, and a cell is the basic structural and functional unit. Let us try to understand the second statement. Take a look at the structure of a wall. This is made up of many units of bricks. In the exact same way, the structure of entire animal or plant is made up of many units of cells. This is why the cell is called the structural unit of living organisms. Schleiden, like many other scientists who lived during that period, believed that cells are formed spontaneously or basically out of nothing. Schwann, then realizing this is true, turned out that Schleiden was in fact wrong, because soon after, the German physician Rudolf Virchow proved that all cells came from pre-existing cells, which simply means the new cells were found from old cells. And this became the third statement in the cell theory, that is, all cells come from pre-existing cells. Hope you now understand how the cell was discovered and how it forms the basis of all life on earth. Let us recap what we learnt in this video. With the help of microscope, Robert Hooke discovered cells in cork tissues. 200 years later, Schleiden, Schwann and Virchow proposed the cell theory. All living things are made of cells. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So students, the coming video explains the similarities and differences between animal cell and plant cell. In this video, we can recollect about the cell organelles present in both cells and what are the main differences between the both cells. So this is the animal cell. These are the foundation of all animals. Let's examine the animal cell more closely. Animal cells are protected by a layer that's surrounded by cell as the functions of a gate that allows the entry or exit of molecules from the cell. It is called as plasma membrane. In the center of the cell lies the nucleus, acts as the brain of the cell. Each and every metabolic activity of the cell is regulated by the nucleus. It contains the DNA in the form of chromatin and nucleus. Cells contain a number of small double-membraned bound organelles called mitochondria. They are the powerhouses of the cell and carry out and big cellular respiration and generate the ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. Next, ribosomes, a small globule bound found inside the cell. They are known as the protein factories of the cells as they carry out the protein synthesis inside the cell. Ribosomes may be free or attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum forms an interconnected network of tubules and vesicles and functions to transport proteins throughout the cells. Golgi apparatus is the system of membranous sacs or called cisternae. The purpose of Golgi apparatus is to transport secretly vesicles and form lysosomes. Lysosomes are the suicidal bags of the cell. They contain digestive enzymes and perform intracellular digestion. Another type of eukaryotic cell is the plant cell. Both the types of the cells are similar, but there are three distinct differences. Firstly, plant cells have a tough cell wall around the cell membrane, while animal cells lack a cell wall. Secondly, plant cells have a large central vacuoles, whereas animal cells may have a few small ones. Vacuoles are single membrane bound organelles which are required for the purpose of storage and waste accumulation. So, the final difference is the presence of chloroplast in the plant cells. Chloroplasts are the green colored double membrane bound organelles which carry out photosynthesis for the plant. So, children, write down the homework in your notebooks and try to answer these questions.
So children, do you understand this video? Okay, I hope that you are all understanding the lesson by doing activities and some explanation. So I hope that you are all enjoying this video. Thank you.
Again, thanks to everyone for watching this video.